Hello, this is the second video in a two-part series about underwater orthomosaics. In the first video, we used Agisoft Metashape to create an orthomosaic of a section of the coral reef floor using photographs taken by a swimmer at the surface. So in this part, we will use QGIS, this program here, to analyze it and mark out the area and percentage cover of any species of any sponge or coral that you want, as long as you can identify it in the orthomosaic. So the first thing you do is open up QGIS. I'm using version 3.18. It doesn't really matter. I think older or newer versions all work. So this is the orthomosaic we made last time. I'm going to drag it into the layers section. And there it is. Remember to save your file often. Okay. You save your file, and the first thing you want to do is come over here to the map projection, the CRS, click that, and disable it. No CRS. Okay. So this orthomosaic is not tied to any geographical location in the world, and it shouldn't be, because our camera has no coordinates and we don't have a precise location, because GPS out in the open sea is quite tricky. So it's better to not have it. The first thing you want to do is just do a bit of a check that your orthomosaic is scaled properly. You can only do this after disabling CRS. So you click on the ruler icon and you make sure that the length of your scale is about right. So about 50 centimeters, okay. Let's see the other one. This should be about 1 meter. Yep. So, okay, so this is scaled. It's keeping the scaling that we brought over from Agisoft, which is good. If this wasn't disabled, you would have some insane numbers. So now that that's done, we go to Layer, Create Layer, and Shapefile. So you can name your layer whatever you want. I'm going to call it polygons, and select where you want it to be. I'm going to keep it in this folder. Geometry type polygon. Now I'm going to remove the field that's already there by default called ID. You click on it and remove. So right now there's nothing in the fields list, and I'm going to add one field. So I'm going to call it thing. You can name it anything you want, coral species. I'm just going to call it thing to make it simple. Add it to the field list. So now you have a field called thing. You enter text string, and you have a maximum length of 80 characters, which is more than enough. Okay. Now you have a new layer that's on top of the orthomosaic called polygons. So now you want to start adding some polygons. You click on this, you go to properties, and symbology. Over here you want to click on simple fill and turn the fill color to transparent. It becomes very confusing if it's not transparent, and you'll see why in a bit. The stroke width I like to increase a little bit. And you can change the color of the line to whatever you want. I'm going to keep it black for now. Okay. So the first polygon to draw is one that goes around the entire thing. This is to mark out and delineate the entire area of the study site. So to do this, you make sure you have polygons selected. You click on this pencil, toggle editing, and this add polygon feature. So right now, you have a crosshair as your mouse, and you should start to draw around the orthomosaic. You use your left click to select points to draw, and if you made a mistake, you can press backspace and you'll go to the previous one. So I'm going to do this quite quickly just because it's a demonstration, and I'll show you when I get around it. Okay, once you feel like you've completed the shape, you right click instead of left click, and that will seal up the entire shape, and a pop-up will show up. So since the only field is thing, I'm going to fill in what this thing is. So I just drew a polygon around the whole thing, so I'll name this thing whole. And you can see that it has created a transparent polygon with a black outline, just as I said in the properties here. It would have been really distracting if the fill was not transparent. So now that you've done that, you want to start drawing polygons, more polygons around whatever your subject of interest is. So for me, it is these black sponges, but you could do anything you want. You could do these corals, these yellow corals. I'm gonna do both, and I'm just gonna run through how to do them again. So you right click, keep going around. I'm just gonna do it quickly. And okay, right click to finish it up. And this thing is a sponge. If you want to do, for example, this other yellow thing, this is Borites asteroides, I think. You just draw the shape around. Again, I'm doing it quickly. And I'm just going to call it asteroid. Yeah. And you can keep doing this to everything you want to mark out. Now, if you are going to take a break and you're going to stop and do something else, make sure you save the layer edits. So save, and you untoggle the pencil. So now you are no longer in editing mode. And you can go back here to drag around, take a break, save your file, and then you can continue on doing what you were doing. Okay, I think I'm just gonna do with these 5 polygons as a demonstration. So I have correctly labeled these 2 as sponge and these 3 as Borites asteroides. So I'm gonna save the edits and untoggle, and I'll just demonstrate with what I have here. So now the next thing we want to do is to make the program recognize that they are different things. So I'm gonna open up the properties, symbology once again, and I'm going to change single symbol to rule based. Alright, so right now you have a sequence of rules. There is one rule here by default with no filter on it. We can have as many rules as we want. For this case, I'm going to want 3 rules, one for the whole polygon, one for the Borites, and one for the sponges. Basically, you should have as many rules as the number of different things you have labeled. So let me explain. If you expand this, the first rule, now go to filter and write thing equals to apostrophe, single apostrophe, whole. This should correspond to the label that you had, at least one of the labels that you had. So that means that all polygons that you made that are called whole are going to have the following design, which has a transparent fill, black stroke color, this stroke width, and all that. So okay, and if you apply, you'll notice that only the whole has a polygon. The rest have disappeared because they're not called whole, so they don't have a design yet. You can add another rule, and for the second rule, I'll say thing equals sponge. And then I'll make up the design for that. Click on simple fill. I'm still going to want it to be transparent, but I will make the stroke color different this time. So let's go with red, and we can increase the stroke size. Okay. When I press apply, you can see that the sponges have now come up, but the Borites are still not there. That's because I just need to add one more rule. Thing equals to, or exactly what I put. And simple fill. I'm going to make it transparent, and I'll make the stroke color yellow. So we've got a bunch of different types of polygons. It is classifying them based on what you enter with thing. So let's just add one more, because why not? If I make one more polygon here, make sure this is selected, add polygon, and I draw, let's say, this one, this little Borites here, and I type in or as, it will know to come out as yellow, just like the rest here. If I make another sponge, it will come out as red, and so on and so forth. You can do this with as many different species as you want. Save this. Okay. So now the next thing we want to do is to make QGIS calculate the areas. So you open up this button, the attribute table. Make sure polygons is selected when you do this. And you can see that we've made 7 different polygons. They're all listed here. and the thing is listed. What you want to do now is click on the field calculator. Right now there's only one field, it's called thing. I want to create a new field, and I'm going to call that field areas. I want the type to be a decimal number, and field length 10, precision 3, that's okay. Now in here, I'm going to scroll down to geometry, open that up, and double click on a $ area. There is an area with no $sign, I want this one. Double click it until it shows up here, and press OK. And just like that, we have the areas in square meters of every single polygon that we've made. So if you are happy with this and you've already drawn all the polygons that you want, you can get to exporting this. But there will often be times where you find more things to draw polygons around. So I'm going to show you what happens then. So you save this, untoggle X. Let's say after you've done all that, you realize, oh, I still have more things to draw around. Like maybe this. Let's just do that. Draw another polygon. It's called Orthomosaics. And now there's another field, areas. Leave that blank. Just keep going on like you want. I'm just gonna add one more sponge here as well. Okay, I'll call this sponge. Okay, now that you've added something new, I'm gonna save this and untoggle. You're not ready to export yet, because if you open up the attributes table, you can see that the last two things you added, they don't have areas on it. It's not updated. So what you've got to do is that once you've finished with everything you want, again, you open the field calculator again, update existing field, choose areas, and you re-enter the $sign area over here. And then you press OK, and it's updated everything. Now everything has an areas value. Okay, now we know the area of every single polygon of everything that you want. So the last step is pretty simple. You just need to go to, well, you need to save this and untoggle editing. Right click on polygons, export, save features as, and choose XLSX or CSV. Choose your file location. I'm just gonna call this, and you don't have to change anything else. Okay. So what you're gonna find when you open this is an Excel file, and in this Excel file is exactly what was in the attributes table with all of the areas. So from here on out, it's pretty simple. It's pretty easy to figure out the percentage cover of everything you want. You just have to do a little bit of Excel. You can import this into R or whatever programming language you want for analyzing statistics. But yeah, I mean, you can just do this right here if you want. Yeah, so just a little bit of quick work in Excel, and you can find the sum of all the sponge areas, the sum of all the varieties areas, and the percentage cover as a fraction of the whole area, according to what I marked out, which obviously isn't everything. So just like that, we've managed to do our analysis and use QGIS to calculate out the area cover and percentage cover of anything you want that you can identify from the orthomosaic. This concludes the series on orthomosaics. Thank you.